So now we have learned the topics of the material UI, and now in this module it's time to start building some projects. So here we start with a mini project 1, which is based on the login and the register screen, which we'll be building with the material UI, and it will be a fully responsive project. And you can also switch between the scenes, like if you are on a login you can also switch to the sign up, and if you are on a sign up you can switch to the login screen as well, and it will be a fully responsive project. And then we will use couple of components from the material UI, like the box. We have learned about the box, and we'll use it for wrapping the layout, and then we'll be using the typography for text headings, and then we'll be using the buttons for submitting the data of the form, and then we will use the icons as well. And then the source code of this tutorial is also attached, so let's see the demo and then we will jump right into it. So here is the project which we will be building. So we have a login screen, and then you can see this is a nice login screen, and then you can see we have two text fields for the login. First is email, and then the second one is the password. And then you can also see we have the login button here as well, and then we also have a change to sign up button as well. So once we will click on the change to sign up, now you can see now the sign up screen will appear, and then you can see now we'll be having three text fields here. First for the name, the email, and the password which we want to set. And then again we can also just move on to the login as well by clicking on the change to login. And then you can also see some icons here in the buttons as well. So for the login we have different icon, and for the sign up or the register we have different icon, and all of the data of this form is also stored inside the state, so we can also get the data as well. So once I will now remove this, I will now just click on the login. Now you can see we have the data of the login as well. We have the email and the password, and once I will click on the change to sign up, we can delete this data, and then we can just provide the name as the Nikhil. And once I will click on the register, now you can see we have the name and the email and the password of the user as well. So everything is working fine. So this is the login screen which we want to build, and now I will show you if this is responsive or not. So now you can see if I will now just minimize the screen as well, now you can see till the access screen as well, project is fully responsive. So it's a fully responsive project which you can build. So let's start implementing this project into our application. So now we are into the VS Code, and now we can just start implementing the project. So now we have the file as the test.js. We can also create a new file as the auth.js to start implementing this project as well. So now we have the auth, and now we can just have here the initial setup of the React application with the RAFCE command. And after that, now we can just start building the application. And now we can just remove this auth, and inside that we will have a form, because this is a login and the sign up project. So first thing which we need is the form, and inside this form now we will have the box. So we will be using the box with the material UI. So now I will import this box as well. We need to import the box from MUI material. So now the box is now imported, and now we can just use the box. And now inside this box, now we will just define some styles. Like we can just define some styles, like we can just define the display can be equals to the flex, and then we can also define the flex direction, and the flex direction will be equals to the column. So this is the initial setup for this box. And after this box, now we will just add here the typography to test if everything is working fine or not. And in the typography, then we will add some text, like this is a form. So if I will now just save, and if I will now just open the React application on the server, so the npm start, and now I forgot to add this inside the app.js as well, so we need to add there as well. So now instead of this test, now we need to add the auth. So we'll be using the auth here. So now the auth is now imported, and now we can just remove the test from there as well. So now if I will now just save, if I will now move on to the application, now you can see this is a form. And if you will just inspect the element from there, like now you can see you have the typography root, and then this is into the HTML which is into the form. And now you can just select anything, and then you can also see we have a form, we have the box, and then we have the typography. So now everything is working, and now we need to just define some styles inside that. So in the form we will have the typography, and the typography can be a login and the sign up. And after the typography, then we will have some items, like we will have the text fields. So we'll be using the text fields from the material UI. So there will be 3 text fields for now. So I will now just copy, I will now paste the 3 text fields here. So if I will now just save, now you can see if I will now just close this, now we have 3 text fields onto the browser. And now I know that it is not looking good, but now we have to style everything from there as well. And after the text field, now we'll have the button as well from there. So we have a button, and then it can be the login button. So if I will now save, so now you can see now we have the login button as well. So now we have defined the input elements inside the form, And now after that, now we can just define some more styles. Like we can just define here the max width property. So the max width we can just define here as the 400 to that. So if I will now just save, so now you can see the width will be now decreased of the login form. You can see we have the login and now the width is now decreased. And after that, now we can just define some more flex items. So we can just define here the flex. I think we can just define align items, and the align items can be equal to the center. And then we can also define the justify content, can also be the center. So now we have defined some flex items there, and now we will see there will be some change onto the screen, and now you can see there is some change. And after that, now we can just define some more style. We can just define here the margin, and it can be the auto from all these sides. So if I will now save, so now you can see this is now into the center of the web page. And after that, we can just define some margin from the top as well. So we have the margin from the top, and the margin top can be, we can just define as the 5 for now. It is a hard coded value for now. And now you can see now we have the form. And after that, we can just define some padding as well inside this form as well. So for the padding, we can just define the padding equals to the something like 5, or we can just define the 3 as well for the padding. So now you can see there will be some padding between the element of the box. And then if you will just inspect that, if you will just select the box, now you can see this is the form, and you can see this is the box which has the green color on the background, and now it has some paddings between the content. And after that, we can just move on, and then we can just define some border radius as well. The border radius for now will be equals to, we can just define as the 5. So if I will now save, if I will now just move on to the application once again, but now we don't see any border, so we need to define the border as well for that. And after the border radius, now we can just define the box shadow as well to implement the shadow inside the application. And for the shadow, we can just define a string, and then we can just define the 5 pixels, and again 5 pixels horizontally, and then we can just define the 10 pixels of blur, and then we can just define the color of the hash CCC of the box shadow. So if I will now save, so now you can see now we have the rounded border with the box shadow inside that. And after that, we can just have here the hover property as well. And for the hover, we need to add here the SX prop. And the SX prop, we already knew about the SX prop, and the SX prop is used to add some custom CSS styles into that. And then we can just have here the hover property. So you can just press the control and the space, and then you will see all of the properties here inside that. And if you will just add here the hover, now you can see we have the hover property, and now you have the hover, and inside that you can also create an object of the properties for the hover. Whenever we will hover over it, so the styles which will apply there will be applied to the there as well. So we can just have here the box shadow, and the box shadow, we will just increase the box shadow in the hover so that it should be a clickable. So we can just add here the 10 pixels. We can just double all of the items from there, 10 pixels vertically, 10 pixels horizontally, and then we can have a 20 pixels of blur, and then the color will be same. If I will now save, I think there is an error. So I made a mistake. So there should be the colon here and not just the object. And inside that, now we need to remove the curly braces as well. So if I will now save, and it should be compiled successfully. Now it is compiled, and now we can just move on to the application. And once I will just hover over it, now you can see the blur is now increased, and now the shadow is now increased of the box, and everything is working quite fine for now. And now we need to just define some styles for the typography and for the text fields as well. So for that, we can just move on to the typography, and inside that we can just define the variant. So the variant we need to define for the typography can be the H3 or H2 for the heading. And after that, we can just define the padding as well for the typography as well, so that it can have some space between the elements. And then we can just have here the text align into the center as well. So if I will now just save with that, if I will now just move on to the application once again, now you can see now we have the big login typography there, and now it is looking good. And now you can see now we have also defined the login as well. And now we need to just create these styles for the typography as well. So for that, we can just move on to the text fields, and then we can just define a variant, and it can be the outlined. And we can just define the variant for all 3 text fields there. Variant equals to the outline, and there as well variant equals to the outline. So if I will now just save, I will now move on to the application. Now the variant would be now outlined there. And after the variant, now we can just define some more styles. So we can just define here the placeholder, and the placeholder for first text field will be the name, and we can just copy that, and then we can just paste for the second text field here as well. We have the placeholder equals to the this, placeholder equals to this. So it will be the email, it will be the password. So we have defined the placeholder as well. So if I will now just save, now you can see now we have the name, email and the password there. And now we can just define the type of the text fields as well. So we can have a type, and this is of the type of the text. So we don't need to add anything here because it is the by default text, but I will now still add it here. And now after that, now we can just add here the type, and this would be the type of the email. So this text field will be the email, and then we can just have here the password as well for the last text field. So we can just change the email to the password. So if I will now just save, and if I will now just move on to the application, now you can see for the name we can just write any name over there, and for the email we need to write the email over there as well. And then we can just have here the password as well, and for the password now you can see now we need to add here the password for the password. And after that, now we can just define some margin between the text fields as well. And now you can see there is no any margin, and all of the text fields are now just attached to each other. So we can just define the margin. So the text fields have the prop of the margin, and now you can see the margin can be the none, dense or the normal. So we can just define the margin, and we need to define the margin as the normal. So we can just do same for every other text field as well. So we can just copy out, and then we can just paste here in the email and in the password as well. So if I will now save, I will now move on to the application. Now you can see now the text fields have good margin over there. So we have almost completed the login screen as well in just very less time. And after that, now we can just move on to the button, and then we can just style the button as well. So for the first button here that we want to use, we'll be having the variant will be equals to the contained. And then we can just define the color as well of the button. So we can just define the color as the warning. So if I will now just save, if I will now move on to the application, now you can see now we have the color equals to the warning, and now you can see the button is looking nice. And then we can just define some more props to the button as well. So we can just define the SX, and then we can just define the margin from the top because the margin top is very less. So we can just define the 3. So if I will now save, so now you can see now we have the 3 margin from the top, and then we can just have here the border radius as well inside the button. So we can have a border radius, and the border radius can be equals to the 3. So if I will now save, if I will now move on to the application, now you can see the button is there, and you can see we have the border radius as well on the buttons, and everything is working perfectly fine till now. And now till now you can say this is also a responsive project till now. Now you can say you can just minimize the screen, and now you can see it is fully responsive and it is fully in the center of the web page. And after that, we can just define here one more button for the change to sign up or change to login. So we can just have here the one more button, and for this button we don't need to define here the variant and the color, so we can just remove that. And after that, the text will be the change to, and it will be the sign up for now. So if I will now just save, if I will now just move on to the application again, now you can see now we have the change to sign up button. But now you can see now we have 3 text fields. So now we will just fix the functionality as well. So now the stylings of this form is now almost complete, and now we can just style more according to our requirements. But now we will start implementing the validations with the form as well. So we will handle the form with the state, and then we will just handle all of the button for the change to sign up. So the sign up text should appear, and then we can just have here all of the state handling feature inside the form as well. So let's start implementing this state. So now the styling part in the application is completed, and the next thing which we want to do is we want to implement the state inside the application. Now you can see now we only have the login text here, and this is a static and the hard-coded text. So we need to update the state dynamically, and then the state will update the text here as well. So once the screen will be of the sign up screen, so now you can see now we only have the sign up screen only, because we have the name, we have the email and the password. So all 3 fields contain the sign up, and if there would be only 2 fields of the email and the password, then that will be the login screen. So for now this is a sign up, so we need to change the state accordingly. If the screen will be of the login, so we need to change the state to the login, or else the state will be the sign up. And then we can just also change the change to sign up button from there as well. So if there will be the sign up, we need to add here the change to login, and if there would be the login, we need to change the state to the sign up. So for that we can just move on to the application, and then we can just use here the use state for that. And the use state, we will have the variable as this is sign up, so that will be a boolean state. So whenever the sign up will be true, we need to show the sign up screen, and whenever the sign up will be false, we need to show the login. So for that we can just have it is sign up, and for the set is sign up, and by default value will be equals to the false. So this will be the use state, and after that we need to update this state as well. So in the change to sign up button that we have, we can just have here the on click prop. So we can just have here the on click, and whenever we will click that, we will just update this state again. So then we will have here the callback only, and then we will have the set is sign up prop, set is sign up state, and then it will be equals to the reverse value of this is sign up. So for that we will just have here the reverse value of the exclamation mark, and then we will have the is sign up here. So if I will now just save, and if I will now just log the value of the sign up as well, so we can just log this is sign up. So if I will now just save, if I will now move on to the application, now you can see once I will move on to the inspect, once I will move on to the console, now we can just clear everything from there. And once I will click on the change to sign up, now you can see now we have the login, now we have the sign up property is true. And once I will click on the change to sign up again, now the sign up property will be equals to the false. So now after that, now we can just add here the condition, like we only need to show first text field whenever the is sign up will be equals to the true, so that it will help. So whenever the sign up will be true, then only we need to show the first text field, or else there will be the login screen inside the application. So for that we can have a is sign up, and then only we need to render this text field. So if I will now just save, I think this is the email text field, so we need to remove that. We need to add it to the name here. So like now you can see this is the name, so we need to add the condition here, like the is sign up is there, and then only we need to render this text field only. So if I will now just save, if I will now move on to the application, now you can see now we have the login screen. But once I will just click on the change to sign up, now you can see now we have the name here. And once I will click on the change to sign up again, and now you can see now we have the login. And now we can just fix the functionality one by one. So the first functionality that we want to fix would be the change to sign up button. So for that we can just move on to the text of the change to sign up. We can just remove the text, and then we can just add here the condition. So the condition would be if the is sign up property will be equals to the true, and then we need to add here the text as the login, and then we need to add here the, and if the is sign up property will be equals to the false, so we will just add here the text as the sign up. And before that, now we need to add here the change to, so we can add a change to. So if I will now just save, and if I will now just move on to the application, now you can see now we have the change to sign up. But once I will click on the change to sign up, now you can see we have the change to login. And once I will click again, now you can see again we have the change to sign up again. So everything in now application is now working fine, and now it is working fine. And now we need to just update the state of this typography as well. So for that we can just move on to the typography, and here inside the static text, now we need to add here the text. So if the is sign up property will be equals to the true, so we can just have here the is sign up. So once the is sign up will be equals to the true, then we need to add here the sign up, or else if the login will be true, or if the sign up will be false, then we need to add the login. So if I will now just save, if I will now move on to the application, now you can see we will now refresh the page again. Now initial value is the false, now we have the sign up, and now you can see now we have the login screen inside the application. And again, if I will now just click on the change to sign up, now you can see now we have the sign up screen, we have the sign up, and then we have the name field as well. But now you can see we have the change to login as well, but the button is still showing the login. So for that we can also change the button as well. So we can just move on to the button, and then we can just remove the static text, and again we have the is sign up. If the is sign up will be true, then we need to show here the sign up, or else we need to show the login. So if I will now just save again, if I will now just move on to the application again, now you can see everything is working quite fine inside this functionality. So now this functionality of showing the login and the sign up screen is fully completed. And now the next thing which we want to do is we want to handle the state of this text field as well. So for now we cannot get the values of these text fields, so now we need to add here the use state again to get the values of these text fields as well. So let's start. So we can just move on, and then we can just declare a one more state. So we can just have here the one more state here as well. So we have the use state. So we have already handled the form inside the previous lectures, so we can just add here the same functionality. So we will add here the name, and the name by default value will be equals to the empty string, and then we'll have the email. By default value will again be the empty string, and then we'll have the password. By default value again we will have the empty string. And after that, now we need to match the name to the text fields as well. So now you can see now we have the text field, and now we need to add the name as well. So this identifier of the text field will be equals to the name, and for the email we need to add the name equals to the email. And for the password, we will have the text field of the name equals to the password. So we'll have the name equals to the password. So if I will now just save, so there will be no any change onto the screen, because now we have just defined some identifiers into the text field. So now this should be the same of the name, email, and the password of the name equals to the name equals to the email, and the name equals to the password. And after that, we need to define here the value as well. So we need to just define the value of the state value. So for that, we can just have here the inputs dot email here inside the email, and then we need to just define the name value will be equals to the inputs dot name. And for the password as well, we will have the value will be equals to the inputs dot password. So now the value will be there. So if I will now just save, so now we cannot edit any value inside this email or the password field or inside the name field as well, because now we have just defined the value as the empty string. So the value will not be changed. Even in the sign up, the value will not be changed of any text field. So now to accept and handle all of the values inside the text field, so we need to just move on to the text field, and then we need to add here the onChange function inside the text field. So whenever the values of the text field will be changed, the onChange function is called. So we can just have here the handle change function inside the onChange. So we can have a handle change, and the same function would be there in every text field. So we can just add here to this text field as well, and to this text field as well. So if I will now just save, so now you can see now we have the handle change function. And now we need to define the handle change as well. So we can just define the const handle change will be equals to the function, which will get e as the parameter, which is the event. And after that, we need to just update the values of the inputs. So after that, now we need to update the state of the inputs as well. So for that, we need to add the set inputs. And then first we need to grab the previous state. So to grab the previous state, we have the callback function inside that. So we can have the callback function, and after that, now we will just return the previous state inside that. So then we will just have here the object inside that, and for the object, first we will have the previous state inside that object. So we will have that previous state, and after that, we need to add here the name property of the text fields. So we can just grab the name property of the event.target.name property of every text field, and then we will just grab the value of that text field as well. So we'll have the event.target.value. So this is how we will update the state inside that. So first we will have the previous state, because we don't need to lose the previous state of the text field as well. So if we type the nikh, so we don't need to lose the nik of the previous state. So for that, we need to add the previous state, and after that, we need to target the name property of that text field. Like name is the same name that we have just defined in the inputs as we have discussed previously as well, and then we will just dynamically update the value of that name only. So now if I will now just save, and if I will now just move on to the application, now you can see now we have the login, and now you can see the values can be now changed inside this text fields, and now you can see it is accepting values, and then we can just have all of the values as well. So to get all of these values now we need to just move on, and then we need to just click on the sign up. So whenever we will click on the sign up, so we need to get all of these values of this form. So for that, we can just move on to the button, submit button, and then we can just add here the type of the button to the submit, because now we are into the form. So we need to add the type equals to the submit, and after defining the type, now we need to move on to the form, and then we need to define the on submit here inside this form. So whenever the form will be submitted, so the on submit function will be then called, and then we can just have here the handle submit as well. So now we need to declare the handle submit function. Const handle submit will be equals to the function, which will have the event as the parameter, and then we will just have here the handle submit. So the first thing which we want to do inside that, we need to just prevent the default behavior of the HTML inside that. So we need to call the event.prevent default, because the form data sends a new HTTP request whenever the submit button is clicked. So we need to just prevent that also. So now the event.prevent default is now called, and now we can just log the values as well inside that. So we can just grab the values of the inputs. So if I will now just save, and if I will now just move on to the application, we can just move on to the developer tools again, and now we are into the console. So once I will add anything into that, like we have the name equals to the Nikhil, the email we have is the nikhil@test.com. we can have any password like 123456. So once I will just click on the sign up, now you can see now we are able to handle all of this state inside the text field as well. Now we can just get all of this value, like the name, we can grab the name, we can get the email, and then we can grab the password. So now we are getting the values as well. So once I will click on the change to login, and now Once I will just click on the login button, once I will click on the submit button, now you can see, now we can grab the values. Like now you can see the name is the empty string because we don't have any name. And then now you can see, now we have the email as well. Inside that we can grab the value of the email as well. And then you can see we have the value of the password as well. So everything in our application is working fine. And once you will just click on the change to sign up, and then you will just add anything into the name. You can add the Nikhil again. You can just change the email as the test at the test.com. And then you can just change the password of the 1234556. So once you will just click on the sign up, now you can see the state of that application will be then changed. And now you can see you have the name as the Nick, you can have the email as the Nikhil at the test.com, you can have the password as the 1234556. And once you will just click on the login again, like now you can see you can just grab all of these values again. And now you can see there's an error. So now you can see once you will just switch from the sign up to login, and now you can see you can still see the name as the Nikhil here. So once you will just click on the login again, like now you can see you have the values, but you can still see the name as the Nikhil. So for that we can just move on to the application and we can just fix that also. So like now you can see now we have the button on click. So here we have the set is sign up, and then we can just wrap it inside the function. So we can just remove it from here, and then we can just have here the handle, or then we can just have here the function as the reset state. So we can just copy that, and then we can just declare a new function as the reset state. Const reset state will be equals to the function, and inside this function the first thing which we want to do is we want to just change the state of the set is sign up. So it will be equals to the previous value of the is sign up, and after that we need to just reset the state of the inputs. So for that we can have the set inputs. So the by default value of the inputs will be there. So the inputs will be having the value as the name will be equals to the again the empty string, the email again will be the empty string, and for the password again we will have the empty string. So this is how the things work. So if I will now just save, if I will now move on to the application, we can just remove everything from there. So once I will just click on this change to sign up, once I will click anything into the state, like we have the name, email and the password. Once I will just click on the sign up, now you can see now we have the name and the email and the password. And once I will just click on the login, now you can see the state is now changed. And now once I will add anything inside that, once I will click on the login, now you can see the name is now the again the empty string, but we have the values of the email and the password. So now everything in our application is working perfectly fine. So now we have completed this project, but the last thing which we have missed is we want to add the icons into the login button and into the change to sign up buttons as well. So for that we can just move on to the MUI.com in the icons. So we can just move on to the icons, and then you will see there will be the material icons, and then you can just select any icon from there. Like for the login, we can just have here the login. You can just log in and then search for it. Like now you can see you can have the outline, and now you can see this login is looking good. So we can just get this login icon, and then we can just move on to the application, and then we can just paste this icon. And after that we want to get the register icon as well. So we have the register, and now you can see this register icon would be okay. So we can just get that, and then we can just import that icon here as well. So after importing the icon, now we have the prop inside the button, which is the end icon. So with that, the icon will be added into the end of the button. So for that we can just add here the icon. So we can just add here the login icon from there. So we can have the login outlined icon. So this is how we can add the icon. So if I will now just save, and if I will now just move on to the application, now you can see now after the login, now we have the icon here, and now it is looking good as well. So for that we can again get a state inside that. So we can have inside the state. So we can just have here the is sign up property again. So when the is sign up will be equals to the true, then we need to handle a different icon, and if the is sign up will be equals to the false, then we need to handle the login. So if the is sign up property will be equals to the true, so we'll have the how to register outlier icon. So we can just get this icon if the sign up is equals to the true, and if the sign up is false, then we will add this icon here. So if I will now just save, and if I will now just move on to the application, now you can see now we have the icon inside the login. And once I will just change to sign up, now you can see in the sign up we have different icon, and in the login we have different icon there. So you can also add the icon to change to sign up button as well. So you can just get this end icon property, and then you can just add the end icon here as well. So you just need to change the order of the icons. So for that you can just get this icon, and then you can just add here the condition here, and here you need to remove this colon here. So now what it is saying that you have the end icon. So the is sign up property is equals to the true, then we need to show the login icon as we have did here. And then if the is sign up is equals to the false, then we need to add here the sign up icon. So if I will now just save, if I will now move on to the application, now you can see in the sign up we have the change to sign up. Once you will just click on the change to sign up, you have the change to login, and in the login you have the login icon here. So everything of our project is completed successfully. So now we will see the summary of this application of what we have built. And now let's see the summary part of what we have done throughout this section. So we have just created the login and the sign up project, and this is a fully responsive project that you can use on any screen size, and this is a fully responsive project. And then we have also done the state handling inside this project as well. So we have handled the state of the different elements like the typography, we have handled the state of the button text, and then we have handled the state of the changing of screens. Like we have two screens here inside the application. So we have a button of changing the screen, like we have this login screen. So once we will click on the change to sign up, the sign up screen will appear, and once we will click on the change to login, the login screen will appear. So we have handled the state handling with that, and everything is handled dynamically. And we have handled the state of the input elements as well, like the text fields. So we have handled the state of the text field, and we have dynamically got their values as well. So we have properly done the state handling part, and then we have also made use of the icons inside the Material UI. So with that, we have just completed the login and the sign up project of the Material UI. So we have completed our first mini project, and now we will have more projects later in this course.